My best friend Emily and I made a mistake. A big, terrible, relationship-threatening mistake. And people will ask us about it sometimes, and they'll say, "Why was your road trip to Canada so bad? Why did you hate it so much?" And neither of us ever really have the time, energy, or desire really to allow those memories to resurface. But summer's coming up, and I know a lot of people are thinking about road trips, and really, it's only my duty to give you fair warning. I was in the middle of the summer after my freshman year of college, and I realized at this point that college would take all of my money.
First off, I'll start talking about mine and Ashley's summer jobs because they were jobs from hell. It was awful. Ashley was a pizza delivery girl, and these old men would always hit on her, and she had these like really creeper worker guys that just and one was this like sleazy Italian. I was a nanny for 3 children, and don't get me wrong, I really love them, but they bit each other and they would run away and like run away on their bikes, and so I would have to like chase them down. And anyways, it was just a really awful job.
The two of us were pretty much killing ourselves, having the worst summers of our lives, and we decided, like most people our age, that the best remedy for this would be a road trip.
Throw me away, forget yesterday, we'll make the greatest day. Hold me away, they say, don't know what's anyway.
Of course, we thought Canada. We could leave the country, maybe they would put a stamp on our passport. They didn't. But we thought that it would be awesome to go to another country. So we got really excited, too excited actually.
So we get ourselves all like psyched up, really pumped. We even make t-shirts, Canada shirts.
We made our own stencil of the maple leaf, and we were so excited. We really made our own t-shirts specifically for this road trip.
We're ready to go, and meanwhile, I'm pretty sure that our parents were like, these girls are psycho, what are they doing, why aren't they planning more for this trip? But we just wanted to live in the moment and, you know, go for it. So we did. We get in the car, we head off, and the first thing that happens is that we get lost on the way, and it wasn't our fault at all. It's just that the freeway, the major freeway, Highway 75, where we're supposed to be on for over 100 miles, was just closed. The whole freeway was closed.
So we're freaking out. We're calling our dads saying, how do we get to Canada? And for whatever reason, they don't know the answer to that. Unbelievable. Basically, we have to guess our way to Canada.
I've traveled every road in this here land. I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere, man. Across the deserts bare, man. I breathe the mountain air, man. I've traveled, I've had my share, man. I've been everywhere.
I don't know if you've been to Detroit, but it's absolutely terrifying.
As soon as Ashley and I get out of the car, these men start whistling at us, making derogatory comments that I just won't repeat.
And there are people whistling, and we're getting terrified, and she goes in there while I'm getting gas and asks for directions, and they tell us that we have gone too far north of Canada. We've gone too far north of Canada. So we don't know, well, one, we didn't know that was possible, and two, we don't know what to do from there. We finally get out of Detroit and are not fearing for our lives anymore, but it was a really rough start actually getting to Canada.
As soon as we get there, we realize, hey, Windsor sucks. So we decide to just kind of walk around, you know, try and make the best out of it. We end up going to the casino, mine and Ashley's first time ever gambling.
And we don't really understand how to gamble. We don't understand the slot machines. We don't know what we're doing really at all. So we needed a little excitement, so we look around online at what's nearby. We find this little place called Pelee Island.
So then Ashley hears something about Pelee Island, so we're like, that sounds awesome, good, we'll just lay out, we'll read, we'll have fun, this will be a great trip. So, we end up, like, looking things up online. We ask the front desk lady, she helps us out, she's like, yeah, that should be a good trip. So, of course, Ashley and I fight about what time we're supposed to leave, and we drove over an hour to get to freaking Pelee Island, and the ferries broke, so we have to, all of the people who want to go to Pelee Island, get on this little ferry. And so we're on the ferry, we're cruising along, crossing the water to the island, and I'm like, hey Ash, why don't we go to the front of the boat? So we grab all of our stuff, we go to the front of the boat, the wind blowing in our hair.
And everything was going okay, except Emily is a little too friendly at times. Well, most of the time. Especially with strangers.
There's this man there, and so sometimes I can just be too friendly. I don't mean to be, it's just my personality, and I start talking to these two guys that are at the front of the boat. Not like I'm flirting, I just wanted to talk to them.
It was just this, you know, big old 45-year-old Hispanic man wearing a tie-dye shirt. You know, they just got to chatting and making me uncomfortable.
So I start talking to Hugo, we find out is his name. I was overly friendly. He invites us to get wine, drinks with him and his friend. It was really awkward. I get creeped out, so does Ashley, so we head back to the boat and avoid Hugo and his friend at all costs. We start walking to the beach. That was the only thing that we wanted to do at Pelee Island, mind you, is just sit out and read and try and get some sun. So we start walking. We realize that it is miles away.
We decide to call Sven's taxi service. It is the only taxi service on the island.
So Sven pulls up in his van that is huge and probably the creepiest van that I've ever seen in my life. And Ashley and I just look at each other and we just decide we have no other way to get to the beach, so we're just going to have to just deal with it. So we get on the van.
And he looks so creepy. He kind of looks like the captain on The Simpsons. So basically, he's a fictional character in my mind. But we called him, so we have to get into the van with him. And he tells us that we can't make it to the West Beach because it is infested with biting flies. So we say, oh, well, by all means, take us to the East Beach.
So once we get to the East Beach, Sven pulls up to this little hill that you have to walk up the stairs and down to get to the beach. And as we're walking up the stairs, we turn around and we see Sven, you know, flying away in his van. And I was like, Ashley, why is he going away so quickly? We just ignore it. Doesn't matter. Sven's just being Sven, we think. And as we